Let's talk about the DJI Osmo Pocket 3. We're going to try and answer one big question today. Why did this tiny little camera suddenly become the piece of gear that every creator seems to have?
You've probably seen it, right? If you follow any vloggers or content creators, you've definitely spotted this little camera on a gimbal. It feels like it just came out of nowhere and completely took over. I mean, one creator even said, I go to events and it feels like everyone but me is holding an Osmo Pocket 3. So seriously, what is the deal with this thing?
You know, to really understand the hype, we have to go back in time a little bit. Because the truth is, expectations for a Pocket 3 were, well, they were pretty low. The older models, the Pocket 1 and 2, were cool ideas, but for a lot of serious creators, they were just a letdown.
And that frustration was totally real. People found the image quality was just not there, the battery would die at the worst possible moment, and the screen, it was so ridiculously small, you almost always had to plug in your phone just to see what you were shooting, which, completely defeats the purpose of a tiny, convenient camera.
So the leap forward with the Pocket 3 wasn't just a step, it was huge. The screen went from basically unusable to this big, beautiful 2-inch rotating display. The sensor grew from a tiny smartphone-sized one to a massive 1-inch sensor. And the whole experience just went from being a clumsy hassle to truly standalone and, well, stress-free. So, what were the key upgrades that just completely flipped the script? A couple of game-changing improvements turned all those skeptical creators into huge fans.
Okay, the single biggest deal, the number one reason for the hype, was the 1-inch sensor. In the camera world, sensor size is everything. A bigger sensor means better image quality, period. And putting one this large into a camera this small, that is a massive deal. This is what gives the Pocket 3 that incredible cinematic look, especially in low light, where the old ones would just give you noisy, smudgy junk.
And the second game changer was that screen. It's not just bigger, it's bright enough that you can actually see it in the middle of the day. But here's the really brilliant part. It rotates. You just give it a little twist and bam, you're instantly shooting in vertical for your Reels or TikToks. No more turning the camera sideways or cropping your shot later. It's seamless.
This is exactly what creators mean when they say it's stress-free. The whole process is just so simple. You rotate the screen and it powers on instantly, ready to go. You press one button to start recording. And if you get off center, a quick double tap on the joystick and it snaps right back. There's almost zero friction between seeing a moment you want to capture and actually capturing it beautifully.
But listen, it's not just about the hardware. DJI packed this little camera with some really intelligent software features that are basically custom built for how people create content today.
Active Track 6.0 is the perfect example. The face and subject tracking on this thing is so fast and so reliable. If you're a vlogger who films by yourself, this is an absolute lifesaver. You can just pop the camera on a tripod, walk around, and it will follow you perfectly, keeping you right in the frame, all while shooting in that crisp 4K.
And of course, we have to talk about the gimbal itself. This isn't like the digital stabilization in your phone or an action cam, which just crops the image to make it look smooth. A gimbal physically moves the camera to cancel out your shaky hands. The result is that impossibly smooth footage. And crucially, it avoids those ugly light smearing artifacts you get with digital stabilization when you're shooting at night.
Finally, let's talk audio. DJI did something so smart here. They built the receiver for their new wireless microphone right into the camera. That means no more dongles, no more extra pieces to plug in. You just turn on the microphone and it connects instantly. It's such a simple change, but it removes a huge headache for creators out in the real world.
Okay, so this camera sounds perfect, right? Well, not exactly. After months of real-world use, creators have definitely found a few trade-offs, and they're pretty important to know about before you jump in.
It's all about balancing the good with the bad. On one hand, you get that incredible image quality, it's super easy to use, the audio system's great, and the tracking's fantastic. But on the other hand, that gimbal is delicate. This is not an action camera you can throw around. It's not waterproof or even dustproof. Some people also feel the lens is a little too zoomed in, and believe it or not, you actually need to buy an accessory just to mount it on a normal tripod.
So that brings us right back to our big question. With these very real limitations, why are so many creators still making the Pocket 3 their main camera for shooting on the move?
The answer really comes down to one thing: what kind of videos you're trying to make. For a certain kind of creator, the pros don't just outweigh the cons, they pretty much make the cons irrelevant. You see, this camera was built for a very specific person.
It's for vloggers, travel YouTubers, and people who make reels and shorts. It's for the beginner who wants that beautiful mirrorless camera quality but gets overwhelmed by all the settings and lenses. Really, it's for anyone who puts a high premium on getting amazing quality footage with the absolute maximum convenience.
Ultimately, the Osmo Pocket 3 basically carved out a whole new space for itself in the market. It gives you a level of quality your smartphone just can't touch, but with a convenience and speed that a big mirrorless camera could never offer. It hits this perfect sweet spot, and for thousands of creators, that's exactly what they've been waiting for. So the only question left is, does it fit what you need?